All right, hello everybody. It's Joe from the Strange Voyage Files. It is 9 September 21st, 2025, and I am doing Annihilator's, in my opinion, best album, Neverland. Now, I really only stuck with Annihilator for the first three albums. I remember seeing Alice in Hell on Headbangers Ball, and I vividly remember them saying this is going to be the Canadian Metallica, and I thought, yeah, I agree. This is really good. Ran right out, bought the album, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. Then Randy Rampage quits or gets fired. I know he kind of like a Paul Diano thing, had way too much fun off stage than devoting to the music, so I believe he got fired. And they get in Coburn Farr. I don't think I've ever said his name right, but they do keep in the band Wayne Darley, Ray Hartman, and I think this Dave Scott Davis was, what does it say about it? No, David Scott Davis is new. Yeah, because I knew on the first one, Anthony Brian Greenham is credited but doesn't perform. And then, of course, Jeff Waters, who is basically Annihilator is basically a Jeff Waters solo project. He is the only constant member. He writes everything. There are a couple albums where he plays everything but drums, I believe, and sings. I actually talked to Jeff a couple of times over just on Facebook, through posts, not even on chats. But cool guy, was very responsive, very nice guy. And they're still pretty big in Europe, but I think the biggest problem with Annihilator was this consistent lineup change. And I don't think this is out of a sense of arrogance. I think Jeff knew he was Annihilator and just felt, well, I just need people to play my music. And I don't know, it just doesn't work in a band dynamic because the songs are, you got two really, really good songs. And the next one is Set the World on Fire, I believe. Yeah, Set the World on Fire. I did get it. I know I didn't not like it, but it was nothing that really, it was enough for me to say, well, I kind of done with Annihilator here and there. And I know for Criteria for a Black Widow, they got almost the entire original band back. So I do at some point want to listen to that one. But out of the three, I know this is my favorite. In doing research, a lot of people think Neverland is my favorite. Now, the only problem that I have with this album, because I think this is a really good album, and I think that Coburn Farr is he did pass away, a good singer, but he didn't fit with this album. Now, maybe it wasn't mixed right. Because to me, his vocals don't mesh well with the band. And the band is on fire on this album. Jeff Waters is, you talk about one of the most under the radar guitar players definitely in metal, but in music. Jeff Waters, he is a god. He is absolutely phenomenal. And it's a damn shame that this band did not go farther than it has because he should be recognized. All right, let's go through the tracks and we'll see where this album ends up with me. So the first one is opens with a great opener, and Jeff solo that starts the Fun Palace, which is the first track, is mind-blowing. The Fun Palace is a 5. It's absolutely great. The next one is, I don't know if this was a single or not, but it should have been if it wasn't. Road to Ruin. And I believe it's about drinking yourself to death. That's another 5. Again, Jeff sounds great. The band sounds great. And Coburn Farr is a good singer. I don't know if they maybe they mixed his vocals too high. Like he was too predominant. That may have been it. But something about it just didn't, even from day one, I didn't think it was a great fit. But Road to Ruin's another 5. Great song. Next one is good. There's no bad songs on this album. Couple filler, and it starts with sixes and sevens, which is a British term. I don't even really know what it means. I remember reading an article when this album came out, and it explained they did a track by track, probably like on Circus or Metal Edge or something like that. And they explained it, but it is a British term. It's a 3. It's a good song. It's, the filler, but not bad. The next one is another. Now, this was a single and a great single, Stonewall, and it's a 5. Just a thrash, in your face. It is where this band sounds like the Canadian Metallica. They really do. Absolutely great song. That's Stonewall's a 5. The next one is the title track, Neverland. Really, really good song, but not perfect, so it's a 4. There's a tempo changes in it that very melodic, really, really good. But it's a 4. The next one is another, good song, Imperial Dies. It's a 3. It's good, but more of a filler song. The next one is awesome, Craft Dinner. I think they couldn't use, and again, I'm going by this, I remember this article. I think I actually had it hanging up in I used to take articles and hang them up in my room. I think I had it hung up in my room, and I think they couldn't use craft for legal reasons. But Jeff had said that, they're starving musicians, and craft dinner is, now it's still $1 a box. So, back then it was probably a quarter or so a box, and that's what he said. We lived off macaroni and cheese, man. We lived off this craft dinner stuff. And just for it being funny, it is a good song, but just for the fun of that song, it's a 4. I like it. I've always liked it. Another really good song, Phantasmagoria. Again, where the drummer is another Ray Hartman, who was on the first one, is awesome on drums. He is unbelievable on drums. And when you get to Phantasmagoria, again, it just sounds great. It's a 4. It's not a perfect song, but it's a really good song. The next one, Reduced to Ash, is a 3. A little bit of a filler song, but it's fast-paced. It's good. Then the last one that I always really liked is a 5, and it's I Am in Command. And this is where Coburn probably sounds the best to me on this one. It's fast. It's got a great hook. Again, the band sounds phenomenal. I don't know if Jeff really went into the studio and really remixed this. He did co-produce it with a guy named Glenn Robinson. I have no idea who that is. Maybe it would be... Man, this album should have gone... Alice in Hell should have gone farther than it did. This one should have gone a lot farther than it did. And it's a lot of people love Born Again, and I don't... And I love Ian Gillan in Deep Purple. I don't like his vocals on Born Again. So maybe if they, and they're always talking about remixing, I think it's in the works to remix Born Again. If they remix this one, I think it would be better. But this averages out to a 4.1, which is, I don't do decimals. It's a 4, which makes sense. This is, it's not a 5 album by any means, but it is absolutely a 4. Great album. Again, we look at this, and then again, hitting on the good old Wikipedia. The next album, the Set the World on Fire, which I have, again, let's just look at the personnel. Yeah, it's Jeff Waters and Wayne Darley, who is on, they're the only 2 people that are on all 3 albums. Then we get to A Bag of Tricks. Let's see who's on. Oh, this is like a greatest hits. King of the Kill. And this is the one where Jeff Waters does everything but play drums. So everybody's gone. Yeah, and again, like I said, this is Jeff Waters' band. It is absolutely Jeff Waters' band. The problem is, I don't know if Jeff, I don't know. And again, Jeff produced Set the World on Fire, and I'm guessing he will go on to start producing everything. Yeah, yep. Then we get to King of the Kill. I think Jeff kind of needs somebody to say, hey, this is not working, or maybe we need to do this, or maybe we need to do this. Because kind of like George Lucas with the prequels, good stories, and Jeff produced Alice in Hell. Good storyline, but you can tell since this is the other one, since Neverland is the other one that has another producer, and it's better. Jeff needs somebody to bounce off of. If this is going to be Jeff's band, he needs somebody to bounce off of. So sad because I really like Annihilator, and I think Jeff is an unbelievable musician. And again, from what I've, my like 3 or 4 chats back, not even chats, but posts back and forth on Facebook 7-8 years ago, couldn't be anything more than a nice guy. So I really wish that Annihilator would have gone further, because somebody who deserves it. But I think that just way too much, it's again reminiscent of Dio after Dream Evil. I could, who the hell's in the band this week? I don't know what's going on. So that I think, even though Jeff is other people do co-write on some stuff, but he's the primary writer. I don't know. That doesn't seem to work, but maybe Jeff just doesn't care. I mean, I know they are still pretty big in Europe. Not selling out arenas by any means, but they're definitely more active in Europe, and I think he lives in England. Maybe Jeff's just like, I'm pretty sure he lives in England. I'm sure that's where he lived when I was going back and forth with him. Maybe just says, screw it, I'm happy with where I am. So if so, God bless. But I definitely recommend Neverland. Awesome album. I think if they remixed it, it would be probably a 5, without a doubt. Great songs. Band, phenomenal. Jeff is an absolute wizard. All right, guys. Well, that is my review of Annihilator Neverland. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Madison will get the X and the Instagram going Monday. It's like my dad used to tell me. Everything was Monday. He had a guy. He's going to have his guy. That's what Madison's got to do. She's got to talk to her guy. This is the Italian side now. I got to talk to my guy. I'm going to have it done on Monday. I'm going to talk to my guy on Monday. It'll be done Monday. Don't worry about it. That was my dad. So Madison's going to get the Instagram and X going on Monday. She's got to talk to her guy. All right, but in the meantime, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and see you later.